Hello, my friends, those who are curious to learn about important aspects of Shona culture, and you parents, Zimbabwean parents, especially outside the country of Zimbabwe, who wish to teach your children or other younger people about important aspects of Shona culture. Those who desire to learn, those among you who desire to learn, desire to do so for a variety of reasons, as I have pointed out repeatedly in the past. Perhaps you are a non-Zimbabwean who wishes to go and visit Zimbabwe, a non-Zimbabwean who wishes to go and settle in Zimbabwe for business, or you just love the country and want to go and settle there, or perhaps you have entered a relationship with a Zimbabwean, a relationship of affinity, a relationship of marriage, and therefore you end up constantly interacting with Zimbabwean people, especially the Shona people, or even proceed to go and settle in the country. Young people who have never been to Zimbabwe or have never had the opportunity to learn these basics of Shona culture, but now desire to learn about them and want to be equipped to facilitate their interaction, your interaction with others in the wider Shona community, society, and even the wider nation of Zimbabwe. So that is the purpose, the point of these sessions. And I continue on our running theme of kinship today. Now, in our session today, I go back to the wider use of certain titles, certain kinship titles. There are those kinship titles that we ascribe to one another in our families, both immediate in the sense of nuclear family, but also in the wider extended family. There are those titles by which we refer to one another. Those titles are used in order to move away from immediately using the name of the person we are talking to, because ordinarily to use the name of the person we are addressing or we are talking to is to belittle them. Using the name of that individual usually applies when you are talking to somebody who is much, 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 much younger than you. But when you are addressing somebody who is older than you, somebody of your own age, somebody who is younger than you, but still deserves respect, you usually use those different titles. Yes, there are circumstances, contexts, when in the end you have to use the name of that individual. But those are circumstances in which it is then necessary to distinguish between one person and another, like when you use the term Handradzi, which can refer to you can use to refer to both of your older sisters, both of your younger sisters, all your younger sisters, or rather all your sisters, And it is a term that you can use to apply to all your brothers if you are female, Handradzi. So it is only when you then want to distinguish which Handradzi you are referring to that you then get to using their name. Otherwise, these titles are for the point of expressing, showing respect towards that person. Now, the wider use of those terms. Remember, in the first place, I spoke about Baba and Amai. Now, these are terms that we use to refer to our own parents, our own father and our own mother. But we then extend these terms to apply to the male siblings of our fathers. When we want to show them deeper respect, we refer to them as Baba. We use the term Amai to refer to the female siblings of our mothers when we want to show them deeper respect. Yes, we can refer to them as Amai Guru, Amai Nini, Amai Guru if they are senior, Amai Nini if they are junior to our mother. But when we want to express greater respect for them, we simply address them as Amai. We then move on to the even wider use of Baba and Amai, which I've referred to on several occasions. We use that term to refer to people who are of the same generation or slightly senior to our parents. Baba for a male, Amai for a female. Those who are in a category, age category of the same bracket as our own parents or slightly older. Remember the term or the terms Vasekuru, Ambuya for our grandparents. Now, once again, it is a term that we can employ in the wider society for anybody who is in the same age bracket as our grandfather, Vasekuru, our grandmother, Ambuya, a total stranger. But when we do that, it shows that we are expressing respect to that stranger. And when we show them respect in the ideal kind of environment, yes, some might not have been brought up properly themselves, even if they are completely gray-haired, they might still be rude individuals, badly behaved individuals. But ordinarily, when you refer to somebody using those terms, they will immediately sense that they immediately become appreciative of you because they, in their mind, they recognize that you were properly brought up to respect others in society. So, Vasekuru, Ambuya, for those of your grandparents' age bracket. We then use the terms Sekuru, Tete, in the wider society for any male who is in the same category, age category, as our own mother's male siblings, Sekuru, Tete for any female who is in the same category, age category, as the female siblings, the older, especially the older male, rather female siblings of our father, Tete. So any male in the same age category or slightly older than our mother, Sekuru. Any female of the same age category or slightly older than our own father, we can use the term tete. We move on to the terms mukoma and radzi. Mukoma is a term or title we usually employ to refer to our older brother if we are male, and our older sister if we are female. Now, we can also employ that same term when we are referring to somebody who is older than us but is a stranger to us. We can refer to them as mukoma. And radzi as well, anyone of the opposite sex who is older than us, but we can also use it for somebody who is the same age as us or younger than us. We can, but of the opposite sex, we can refer to them as handradzi. And when we do that, for them, it's a mark of respect. It shows them that we respect them. We come to the term muningina. Muningina. This is a title we ordinarily use to designate somebody, to designate our younger brother or younger sister. Younger brother if we are male, younger sister if we are female. So in the wider society, any stranger that we come across, we meet for the first time, or we begin to interact with, but they remain a stranger. We might not meet again for the next 3 years, but perhaps we have met at a conference, or we've just met on a bus, or at an entertainment, social gathering, whatever. So that person who is younger than us, we can refer to as muningina, younger brother, younger sister, depending on our own gender. There is the term shamwari. Shamwari. This is a term that means friend. Now, it is also a term that we can employ when we are referring to somebody of the same age group as ourselves. Once again, somebody who is a stranger to us, but we don't want to simply say iwe, which means you. That would be disrespectful. Perhaps it's a situation in which we don't know their name. So we use that term shamwari, which means friend. When we refer to somebody who is of the same age category as our daughter-in-law, we use the term murora. We refer to that person as my daughter-in-law, my daughter-in-law. And again, that shows respect, that expresses respect for that individual. The same applies to that male who is of the same age category as our own son-in-law. We can use that term mukuasha, which means son-in-law. So that stranger who we come across on a combi, on a commuter omnibus, on at the market, in a shop, at a football match, whatever, but who is of the same age bracket as our son-in-law, we can refer to that person as mukuasha. We then come to the person who is in the same age bracket as our own child. That is an individual to whom we can also refer to as mwanangu, which means my child. The mwanangu is a neutral term which applies to both female and or male. When you are referring to your male child, when you are referring to your female child, you can use that term mwanangu. So when you are referring to a stranger, a child of the same age category as your own child, but this child is a stranger to you. You don't know them, you don't know their name, or perhaps you know them, you know their parents, but you don't want to simply call out, shout out their name. You can show respect to them by calling them my child, mwanangu. We then have the term muzukuru, which you can employ when you are referring to somebody of the same age bracket as your own grandchildren, or perhaps your nephews and nieces, your very young nephews and nieces. You could also refer to that person as muzukuru. Remember, the term muzukuru is a neutral one, once again, that you can employ to refer to a male or a female, a nephew or niece. Finally, there is the word tsano. Now, this is a term that males can use towards one another. A male can use it to refer to somebody, perhaps of the same age group, somebody male, perhaps of the same age group as themselves, but also somebody slightly older than them, just like they might use the term mkoma or shamwari. One could also employ the term tsano, which means brother-in-law. One could refer to that person as tsano and address them that way. Once again, all these terms are employed in order to show respect to these different people. Now, yes, they are terms that you, when you are new to Shona culture, you begin to learn, you hear being used, and you go on to use yourself. These are terms that you can use yourself, but be prepared that these are terms that can be used towards yourself. When people want to show you respect, they will employ these terms depending on their age, depending on the context, and so on, and how you are meeting them, how you are encountering them. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for following. Let us keep learning, and you keep being curious about Zimbabwean, especially Shona culture. Kinship is foundational to Shona culture. It keeps people together. It keeps families together. It keeps people united. It keeps people respectful of everyone else's dignity. Have a good learning, listening, following, not just in this session, but in the future. Good luck in your appreciation of Shona culture. Bye.